Well, I'm meteorologist Justin Storm. I'm here with Sarah Lovas and our guest today. And our guest is Tim Mock from Butcher's Edge Edgeley. And Tim, thanks very much for taking some time out of your busy day to join us. How are you doing?
We're busy. You're right.
I can only imagine that you are. Well, tell me a little bit about Butcher's Edge. What is it? What do you guys do?
Well, we're a new facility. We've been open for maybe 8 months now. Myself and 4 other owners got this place going. We process custom processing for people, and now we are doing state inspected processing as well. And then we also have a retail store up front. So,
oh, that's great. It sounds like you said, busy. You're staying really busy with all that. How has it been going? Have you guys been seeing just a steady increase in the amount of work you're doing? It sure sounds like it.
Yeah, it took a little time to start filling our calendar, but it's been getting busy. Our calendar's filling up more every day, and now with us offering state inspection slaughter, we've had a lot more calls of maybe some guys bringing us quite a few head, and most recently I think we're going to do some work for the food bank, providing burger for the food bank here in North Dakota. So yeah, a lot of things kind of happening here for us, and we're just we're learning as we go, and it's a lot of work, but we're doing good so far. So.
Oh, that's great. And you had said something there that I just wanted to. You said state inspected slaughter. What does the state inspected mean? What's the difference between that and maybe say something that's not inspected, or if there is, I'm not sure.
So if you slaughter under custom exempt, that means either you or someone else, whoever owns that animal, has to take that animal back, to consume. We have to label all of that not for sale. It cannot be resold after it's processed. That's what custom is, and that's what most plants do. So with the state inspection now, we can, let's say a producer wants to retail their own cuts, get their meat back and then maybe sell it by the steak. Sell burger. That needs to be done under inspection, which actually we're killing under inspection today. So the inspector needs to, make sure that animal is healthy. They need to be here when we're killing it to check it. Check all the organs and stuff inside. Make sure it was a healthy animal, and then so that they deem it safe for resale. So the guys can, like I said, sell it cut by cut. So.
I see you.
So it's a lot of work to set up a new business like that, and especially in a small town. What inspired you to start this new business?
I was sick of cutting meat in my dairy barn, so we thought we could build a real facility. Well, that's kind of how I got started. I always did our own butchering in we used to milk cows, and so we were. We knew what hard work was, obviously. And then, when my dad got done milking, I always liked butchering. Kind of got started with pigs, and then started, with deer and stuff. And then, when I wanted to start doing our own beef, I realized, we need a lot better equipment. And then, I did get a bandsaw and stuff. But then after, then you get people that find out you're butchering and they want to come bring you stuff. And so then we started looking into, our plant had been closed in Edgeley for maybe, it's probably been like 10 years since the old plant was open. And we started just doing some research, like what if we actually, put up a new facility and one thing led to the next. We did a lot of research before we did, build this. We went through the, feasibility report and everything like that. So, and once things looked good, we just pulled the trigger, and here we are. We're doing it.
Oh, that's awesome. And we were actually talking just before we jumped on with you. I was like, oh, I wonder if he uses a bandsaw or a chainsaw. I got no idea. And it sounds like you used the bandsaw, but what other equipment do you use? I mean, what goes into this?
Oh God, I'll tell you what, you want to spend some money, go look at buying meat processing equipment, commercial equipment. You can spend as much money as you want. Depends how nice a toy you want to play with.
Right.
But you need, with beef and these bigger animals, you need a way to split them and things. So you need a nice, splitting saw, and then yeah, you have to have a bandsaw for breaking down beef and things like that. And then obviously you need the big commercial grinder. And then we did invest in what's called a vacuum stuffer, which allows us to package our hamburger a lot faster than putting it in just like a smaller stuffer. So, you know.
And I think we just lost audio with Tim there. Tim, you back?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you just cut out there for a second.
Sorry.
No worries. You just want to back up a quick sentence on what you were just saying?
Well, I was just kind of saying, like I said, you need the bandsaw when you're doing beef, and I said, we started with a lot of used equipment to start, but hopefully we'll start making a little money and we can upgrade some of that stuff. But yeah, good bandsaw, good grinders, and a good stuffer is what you really need to at least get this stuff cut and wrapped. And then we did buy a new smoker because we like, we make some good sausage down here now, and we make a lot of jerky and stuff. So we have our own recipes down here that I've done for a while, and so we have a nice smoker and things like that. And we have a nice retail store up front. We're right on 281. That was, we actually remodeled the building. It was they used to do airplane kits out here, so we're right on 281, and we just love the spot for retail and for guys bringing trailers. It's really easy to get into our facility. We actually have a drive-through for you guys to drop off cattle, and we have nice holding pens inside, so it's really slick for anyone. I mean, anyone can drop off cattle here. All you got to do is drive through a double door, and we swing the door open, and your cattle jump off into some pens, and it makes it really easy for them and for us. So that's why we picked this spot to kind of we repurposed an existing building. We didn't build this from the ground up.
I see.
So having access for a lot of our livestock producers to have a place to actually get their meat processed is kind of a big deal, isn't it? It sure seems like a lot of the talk in the agricultural communities has been that we haven't had a lot of good access for our livestock producers to get to processors. So how is that? Can you tell us a little bit about that, or?
Well, we're not going to quit eating beef anytime soon here in North Dakota. So yes, and guys and people, we got all these beef producers out here, and they want to eat their own beef. So you need a place, and it's like I said, you start wanting to process your own beef. You need big equipment, and not these guys. People don't have it. Butchering on the farm was probably a lot more common back in the day, but when it comes to beef, they're big animals. You get beef that hang at 1,000 to 1,200 pounds. I mean, and you need saws to split them. So and it's just great to give guys options to market local beef. Keep money here in North Dakota. Keep the beef here in North Dakota. Guys raise unbelievable beef here. So that's kind of what inspired us to build it. We want to provide that option for guys.
So this is kind of a basic question, but maybe some people that aren't involved in agriculture might not know this answer. But what's the difference between a hanging weight of an animal and then like what your finished product actually is?
Okay, so your hanging weight, is obviously once the skin and the head and the hide is all removed in the guts. That's the hanging weight. That percentage from live weight is different on all animals. Beef, a lot of times it's like 62% of the live weight, and then hogs is a higher percentage. And then off your hanging weight, obviously when you go cut that animal up, you're going to be removing bone and excess fat and things like that. So depending on how your animal's cut, if you leave a lot of bone-in cuts, you're going to have a higher yield because you're going to be weighing that bone. But, it's always anywhere from, 55 to 65% yield, or, somewhere in there for what you'll get off hanging weight. It all depends on what cuts you pick and the quality of that animal.
Oh, very, very interesting. Well, Tim, we're going to hit bottom of the hour here real quick, so we're just going to take a short break. But
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. I am Sarah Lovas here, filling in for Bridget Riedel, along with Justin Storm. And our guest today is Tim Mock from Butcher's Edge. So we're just having a great chat about meat processing. And Tim, what kind of animals do you actually process?
Well, mostly we do beef and pigs, but we have done sheep, and obviously we didn't we just brought deer trim in this year. We didn't bring in whole animal deer because we were pretty new at the time, and then so a little bit of wild game there trim, and then but mostly beef and hogs, and I say we get an occasional sheep in here once in a while.
I see. What about, you said you had just brought the deer trim in this year because you're relatively new. Did you build up enough experience or confidence to maybe consider that for the upcoming, next year's hunt, where people can just drop their deer off and have it processed by you guys? Or how does that look in your opinion?
Yeah, it wasn't that we weren't comfortable with doing it. It was more of we were just getting started, and we were we were focusing on beef. We were trying to get our beef schedule filled, and so we had a pretty good schedule. Our schedule did fill up pretty good for November, so we didn't want to mess around with because usually if you're going to do deer, guys usually probably shut down their beef production for about 6 weeks, and because you're bringing in all these deer, and you're not going to be cross contaminating with you don't want to have beef in there at the same time.
I see.
So we just kind of were like, well, let's focus on beef, and we'll take in deer trim. So if hunters wanted to trim their own animal out, we'll make them sausage and jerky, and that's what we did. So, I mean, we I don't know how many deer we had filtered through here, but it was probably like 40 or 50. It wasn't crazy, but it was enough.
Right.
So, what is your favorite cut of meat, or what is your favorite product that you make?
Well, we like our fry sausage. Our smoked fry sausage has been very popular. It's our recipe, and as far as beef cuts, I mean, I still huge ribeye fan, obviously, like anybody else. So but there's some cool cuts that we do here that that I've learned over time that we do. We'll do chuck eye steaks for people, and Denver steaks and things like fun stuff like that once in a while. Flat irons, we'll cut flat irons for you if you want, and cool stuff like that. Getting to be more popular, especially on like these, we get, because like myself and Jay and Grant Mathern are owners in here too, and they're cattle producers, and I've like probably 12 years ago now, I started dinking around with Wagyu Angus crosses. So we have some Wagyu that we've been selling now for that I've sold privately just for a while. Not a lot, I'm not a huge producer, but I started messing around with that, and I'll tell you what, you get that quality of animal in, you want to keep as many steaks off that thing as you can.
Yes, you definitely do when it comes to something like that.
Yeah.
I had along the same lines of that, you were talking about what your favorite thing was, and some of the more unique cuts that you do. What's been one of the more unique things that somebody has asked for? Maybe like a really unusual thing would be another way of putting it.
There's been, I don't know, there's been all sorts of stuff. You get people that are asking for internal organs that we're not used to really keeping. Obviously that some of that gets they have a reason for keeping them. Like, some people ask for their kidneys, and some people ask for pancreas, and it's like, okay. But because usually your main stuff is heart, liver, tongue, for what you're going to keep off something like that. And then people ask for like marrow bones. People like to make those little marrow bone canoes and get fancy and drizzle it on their steaks, which is, it's great, it's delicious. So
Right.
stuff like that. And then tallow, people keep their suet. Actually we started to keep that ourselves off some inspected beef and make our own beef tallow. And we actually make beef tallow here for sale. It's supposed, people are kind of getting away from these highly processed seed oils, they're kind of not supposed to be very good for you, and they're kind of going back to animal fats, which turning out, they're actually pretty good for you. They're not as bad as the vegetable oil or a canola oil. So I'm serious. And, so we make beef tallow and actually have a little bit out front all the time. So, and you can replace all your cooking oils with beef tallow. It's a high temperature cooking oil, and it's great. It's delicious. It's good.
So where do your customers come? You mentioned that you've got a retail front. So where are all your customers coming in from?
Well, we're still pretty new, so most of it's local, but we're people are starting to kind of hear about us. So like we'll get people that just pull off 281 there and come in and things like that, and we'll people will come down from Jamestown and things like that, because Jamestown's only about 40 miles north of us. So but we do get some guys coming down just to come down and check out our stuff. So
I see. So how about somebody, let's say I have a cow, I want to bring it in, I want to have it processed. What does that kind of look like? Do you have different packages? Or let's say I want most of this to be hamburger, or I want as many prime rib roasts as I can get off of this. Do you customizable things like that? Or are there any like packages where like, oh yeah, you bring in your cow, we'll charge you this much, you'll get 80% hamburger, 20% steak, or something like that?
Well, it's very simple. And if you've never done it before, that's why we walk you through it. But every plant has what's called a cut sheet. Mm-hmm. So you bring your animal in. Here's all the cuts. Here's all the steaks we offer to cut. Here's all the roasts. Here's the burger. Here's some of the other cuts that aren't maybe as popular. People don't know about skirt steaks and flank steaks and all this stuff. And we walk you through that. You fill it out, and then we cut it up how you want. I wish we could just get all prime ribs off the animal. That would be fantastic. But unfortunately, it's
only
not all
so many of those growing.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
That's okay. We still need hamburger for the hot dishes that are out there too.
Yep.
Good North Dakota hot dish.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, it seems like you're making it pretty easy, user friendly for someone who just wants to walk in, or maybe they're very, unfamiliar with it. Kind of along the same lines, do you have people that, let's say someone who is not involved in ag, like myself, and I've done this before where we split a cow with my parents, and they'll take half, I take half. Do you do things like that in cooperation or in tandem with a producer where they're like, all right, yeah, this guy wants to buy one of my cow, I'm going to send it to you, you'll chop it up and then give it to them. Do you do things like that too?
Yep, absolutely. We get people who will call in that, like you said, just aren't involved or don't really know a beef producer, and they'll ask us, hey, I'm looking for a half of beef, local beef. Do you have one? And then basically, we know enough producers. We'll reach out and try and find that person an animal that's finished, or whatever they're looking for, and then and line that up for them. It's usually not too difficult. We got enough beef, like I said, we have enough beef producers around that are finishing cattle that we can find you a beef.
Great.
So Tim, that's really interesting, because it sounds like there's a big push out there to try to have access to local food and really get to know where your food is coming from. And it sounds like you can be almost a person out there for someone to call so that you can really have that connection. Mm-hmm. Is that right? What I'm kind of hearing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, anyone can call us, and we have, like I said, we're getting in contact with more and more beef producers. I said, there's plenty of cattle around. It's just, the problem probably has mostly been just, getting enough good butcher shops to get this stuff processed and get it out there. And, and if there is, if you live in the city or something, and like you said, if you're not familiar with it, I'll tell you what, if you find a beef producer that finishes out a beef that the way you like it, you'll never go back. I mean, it's the way to get beef. You always have it on hand. You have burger on hand. You have steaks on hand. You got all this stuff on hand all the time, and you know exactly where it came from. You know you can ask the farmer what it was fed, how it was raised, is it all natural, all this stuff. Oh boy, and fun here. But anyway, I haven't moved in so long. We have automatic lights here because, obviously our hands are probably always full of something. But anyways, so like I said, if you're if you're unfamiliar with buying beef by the quarter or half, don't be scared to call and ask about it, because it's like I said, we'll walk you through the process the first time. And like I said, if you find people like beef different ways. You get people who might like grass-fed beef, and your conventional corn-fed beef and things like that, are all natural. And we have producers that do all the different ways. So
that's great. There's been a real push for local producers getting involved with the school districts around here, bringing in local. Just local into the schools. And now that you are a part of the, I just wrote it down here, the state inspection, you can resale that, and you do resale. Do you do any work with the schools or maybe other producers, and they go through you to go to a school system or something like that?
Yep, we've been doing the burger for Edgeley, and then now we've had some other local schools that we've done a little bit of burger for now too as well. So hopefully that continues. And I mean, I've always thought that's just a no-brainer. I mean, we should be feeding our kids. I mean, we're right here. If we can process good local fresh ground beef, we should be feeding it to our kids 100%.
Completely agree with you there, Tim. Well, Tim, again, I want to thank you very much for taking time out of your day. And I can hear all the processing going on in the background, so I know how much work you got going on over there.
Well, I'll tell you what, trying to find a quiet spot in this meat shop was more difficult than I thought. But there is still people working. We're trying to get them out of here because we do have some weather coming in. So they're actually, people are just kind of finishing up, trying to. Of course, we always got to worry about weather here in North Dakota.
Yeah, you got to want to make sure you're safe. Well, for those listening, Tim, where can they go to get more information about you? Maybe they want to place an order or walk through how they can do so. And then after that, where is your location at again for someone who wants to stop by maybe?
There's a lot of ways to get a hold of us. We have a Facebook page, Butcher's Edge. We have a new website, butchersedgellc.com. We are located, like I said, right in Edgeley, just south of Highway 13, right on 281, just heading out of town. We're right on the west side of the road. And or you can call us at 493-MEAT, 6328. So that's our number.
Oh, that is great. Well, Tim, thank you. Have a great rest of your day. And when Weather and Ag in Focus returns, well,